India Startup 360, an ecosystem which offers a comprehensive solution to the three key problems faced by startups, namely, mentor, money and market. IS360 is organizing a virtual Startup Expo 2021 from 7th to 9th of May. Key attractions of this virtual expo: startups can digitally showcase their capabilities and interact with mentors, investors and buyers. Entrepreneurial Development Program on 7th and 8th by Bharatiya Yuva Shakti Trust and IS360 jointly. Leading public sector banks like SBI, IOB, IDBI, Indian Bank, Bank of Baroda and Bank of Maharashtra have exclusive finance arrangements with Bharatiya Yuva Shakti Trust. Startups can avail of collateral-free loans of up to 25 lakhs. Bharatiya Yuva Shakti Trust provides this facility in 12 clusters across India. Pitch day for growth startups seeking funding from angel investors and venture capitalists on the 9th of May. Finance partners like AH Ventures, Growth Launchers, Letwing Ventures, UK India Startup Corridor and United Business Ventures, Mars Foundation etc. will focus on growth startups looking for equity funding. IS360 will also be launching their ambitious Business Idea Generation Big Meets program on the 9th of May formally. Many ADP cell or incubation centers across India shall be taking part in this mega event and present the pitch desk. The registration can be done using this link. If your invitation cell is willing to jointly organize the event and promote it aggressively, please feel free to contact us. Welcome to Virtual Swayamvar.
What are the stages in Virtual Swayamvar?
First, go through the profiles.
4 rooms are available here.
Iyengar profiles, Iyer profiles, Overseas profiles, and Remarriage profiles. Go to one of the rooms based on your preferred sect. Here, 3 icons available. The first one, Profile.
You can know more about them by
Clicking this profile icon. The second one is Video profile. And the last one is Horoscope. After clicking this profile icon, you will get this pop-up. And here, you can see their photos. You can chat with them. And also you can like them. By clicking this message button, you will get the chat window. In the main hall, there is an icon called My Profile, placed at the bottom of the main hall. By clicking this icon, you can see your profile, photos, and chats.
For security purposes, we have placed
The chat list here. This means you can check your messages by going to your profile. These are the first step in the virtual Swayamvar event.
Remember that you can see your messages by
Clicking My Profile for security purposes. The second one is the horoscope matching.
Go to the horoscope matching room. Send us a request by submitting this form.
After that, we will schedule your meeting with an astrologer and let you know. Then you can go to this room and meet the astrologer, then proceed further.
The final step is matchmaking. Same method as horoscope matching.
All you need to do is send us a request by submitting this form. After that, we will schedule your meeting and let you know. Then you can go to this room and proceed further.
Wishing you all
Success to choose your life partner.
Virtual Swayamvar is a new platform for the bride and groom to search good life partners. It is safe to enter the Virtual Swayamvar portal, easy to register and user-friendly to go and search. The portal looks amazing and designed like a marriage hall right for the purpose. incorporating features that are easy to use. The unique features in Virtual Swayamvar provide separate rooms for profile matching, horoscope matching, and meeting room all in one roof, which has to be appreciated. Parents are also allowed to participate in finding the right life partner, and this is the right marriage portal for COVID times and for the young generation.
Yeah, very good afternoon to one and all, and welcome back to session two of day two of India Startup 360 Expo. It has been a wonderful morning session with Mr. Hari Bhaskar and Mr. Sujoy Chaurasya, and of course with our Vishal Kale. So we were discussing about the importance of ecosystem and how an ecosystem can evolve into a major driving force behind these startups. To continue the journey further, we have very eminent personalities, of course, from the field of education, and also uh, a wonderful lady who is there as a leadership trainer, and also we have one more a legal expert to share various views about the startups and their legality and how a startup incubation system is helpful to the startups and so on and so forth. Without spending much time, I just invite our first invitee today, Dr. Mohit Dubey.
Namaskar,
Dr.
Sadhguru.
Yeah, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
And just to give a brief about Dr. Dubey, he is the CEO of Atal Incubation Center at MIT ADT Pune. This MIT ADT University is reckoned as a leading university across India, and it is almost considered as at par with the IITs all through the Indian scenario. And he is a very eminent and established personality, and he has worked with Samsung as leadership first tab for skill development, repairing of mobile laptops and ACs, washing machines, and so on. So that is the major achievement with respect to skill development and other things. Now he is very efficiently leading this uh, incubation centers at MIT ADT. And now I call upon Ms. Sujata Suresh. She is a leading personality from BYST. BYST is the Bharatiya Yuva Shakti Trust, still following the practice of Guru Sishya Parampara, that is founded by J.R.D. Tata way back in 1992, and they are carrying out the legacy for the past 30 odd years now. And to give a brief about Ms. Sujata Suresh, she is an international behavioral trainer and coach, and she is very energetic and vibrant lady. She is known for her women leadership programs, and also she is a certified international career coach. She is a motivational speaker, interpreter of psychometric instrument and behavioral trainer, and overall experience of 16 plus years in training and organization development. That is a brief about Ms. Sujata Suresh. And now I take the last panelist of the evening, that is none other than Mr. Nitin Kaushik. She is also part of India Startup 360 ecosystem. He is a lawyer by profession, and of course, he heads an organization called Ayosan Legal, and he is a consultant to startups in the areas of legal compliance and so on and so forth. And he is there today to help or the guide the startups how to do the legal compliances and other things. So, with this brief introduction, I would seek the permission of the panelists to formally start the event, and I welcome you all once again for this wonderful event. And I request now our guest, Dr. Mohit Dubey, to carry out and share his viewpoints as to how an incubation system can help in the journey of a startup. Over to you, Dr. Dubey.
Thanks, Dr. Partha. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible, Dr. Mohit.
Okay. So, first of all, thank you once again for having me here, and a lovely afternoon to all my co-panelists. And I wish everyone safety amidst this whole corona crisis that the humanity is facing. And I wish all the safety for all the viewers of India Startup 360, the Expo, all the participants who are viewing this panel. So besides wishing everyone a safety, it also is a very opportune time for all of us to rethink how do we become the part of the solution during these crisis times that the humanity has never ever faced. So we talk about the incubation ecosystem. You asked me about the incubation ecosystem. I would like to share what I mean. If you can allow me to share my screen, I can probably give you a glimpse.
You can, please.
Okay, so I'll probably share instead of doing a lot of talking. If I can just show you what we are trying to build here, it may give some inputs so as to how do we think of building these ecosystems. So let me just quickly share.
Need any support to share the screen?
No, I think
There is
I'm
a
fine.
share button. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I.
Yeah. Yeah, your screen
All
is
right.
visible.
So, okay, all right. Let me just quickly dive into this. Just wanted to check if you have the audio as well besides the video.
Yeah, it is there. While sharing itself, you need to select the option share audio.
Yes,
Maybe you
I
can
did.
you did it.
I
Then
did.
it's perfect. It's perfect then.
This wonderful, center of creativity, center of innovation, center of ideas, whatever you can say, and center of fulfilling the dreams, not only of an individual incubating, but the dream of right from Mr. Modi ji, yourself, and all of us. Now, this new initiative by the government of India and under the leadership of Mr. Ramnan, private university like MIT, ADT has taken the lead, and we also have started the activity. And now, henceforth, such incubation centers will be the integral part of the university education, in my opinion. I will give you assurance, MIT group is really passionate about it, and we will see to it that it will really deliver more than your expectations. So that's what I can commit you on this occasion.
Innovation is inbuilt in us, but somehow our educational system has been stifling it and limiting your own capability by making you feel that you are not capable of this, by putting blinders around yourself. And we want to remove those blinders. And to remove those blinders, these tinkering labs, these incubators are the place where you can come and express your idea into an innovation and convert that innovation into a problem solving product which will have impact on the society.
So I think इस जहां में अभी उड़ान बहुत बाकी है, इस जहां में अभी बहुत इम्तिहान बाकी है, इस जहां में अभी उड़ान बहुत बाकी है, इस जहां में अभी बहुत इम्तिहान बाकी है। अभी तो नापी है 2 मुट्ठी भर जमीन, अभी तो पूरा आसमान बाकी है। ఇంకో బ్రాహ్మడు మాట్లాడుతున్నారు.
So, if you noticed the incubation center that we are trying to build at MIT ADT University, by virtue of being situated at a private university, which hosts around 14 different colleges who are catering to various sort of education in terms of engineering, management, School of Film and Television, Design Institute is one of the best institutions that they have. With this sort of multidisciplinary institution that we have, it gives us a leverage for all of us to dig deep into the expertise that the university brings us, right? And also, what we notice that as a country, we have around 1,000 universities and 50,000 plus colleges, right? So if we have to take this innovation and entrepreneurship to the next level, if we want to scale it up, if we want to create that impact, it has to go beyond these so-called IITs and NITs of this country. And it needs to reach out to all the 40 million people who are part of this whole phenomenal higher education and the entire education system that we have. So as part of Atal Innovation Mission at Niti Aayog, the attempt is to intervene at all the levels of this educational value chain. So if you had seen around the phenomenal intervention at school level, which is called Atal Tinkering Labs, the idea is that at 1.5 million schools that we have in this country, the government of India is trying to fund and support some 10,000 Atal Tinkering Labs. What is the idea? The idea is that if, as a kid, if you want to tinker around with some of the latest technologies, which schools might not have it. So they are also funding that while they are trying to onboard some of these mentoring activities, and they kind of allow the incubator centers to handhold these tinkering labs at school levels, where these kids can play around with some of the latest technologies, toolkits for robotics, drones, miniaturized electronics, some of the software technologies on AI, ML, IoT. So the idea and the attempt is that this ecosystem right from a school level in the form of these tinkering labs, I think we are able to get this mindset of these school kids to question a lot of these things, right? So when they start questioning, they can start putting together these solutions for creating these products and services. At a higher education level, there is this intervention called Atal Incubation Center, and the idea of these Atal Incubation Centers is primarily to handle these so-called young, passionate innovators in terms of creating these products and services. And the idea is that if, as a kid, if you want to tinker around with some of the latest technologies, which schools might not have it, so they are able to fund and support the incubator centers to create these products and services.
Dr. Dubey, your voice is lost. Dr. Dubey?
Sir, I think we can write to him on WhatsApp or something because his video has also stopped.
Yeah, I think it's network connectivity issue maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see for a while. In the meantime, Mr. Suresh Kumar has joined. Nitin, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
So where is the problem?
I think it has got stalled from on their Windows. Generally, it is running.
So,
yeah.
Mr. Suresh Kumar, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Sujata Suresh's partner. I'm an executive coach and basically helping small industries and entrepreneurs identify the skills to succeed in business and also gain the inner balance to enjoy that success. Thank you.
Okay, I think Ms. Sujata also has dropped out. There might be some other issue then.
Let me check.
Dr. Mohit has dropped out. Sujata has dropped out. So in the interest of the time, Nitin, since you are available, maybe you can, Dr. Dubey has just joined.
Yeah, I know.
I hope maybe some bandwidth issue or that.
Yeah, it's not just the bandwidth. You also have to deal with the power cuts. so it's not just the.
Okay.
Yeah. So am I now back?
You please continue with your about the tinkering labs you were talking about.
So if you notice that there's this whole value chain of when you want to intervene in this whole ecosystem right from a school level, in the form of tinkering labs, where these kids are able to play around, where tinker with some of the new technologies in terms of miniaturized electronics, drones, kits, do-it-yourself kits in terms of robotics and AI and ML and some of these new age technologies. That's one step of getting these kids to ask questions, right or wrong, it'll come later. But first and foremost is that these kids start asking questions beyond their normal kind of curriculum that they have to take. When you move into the higher education sector, it's these these incubator centers which are playing their role. There are multifold roles that they have to play. One is about engaging these young minds in order to create that problem-solving mindset. So if you are able to excite these, let's say, 10% of this entire population, because as of now, most of our students that we talk to, most of these young, passionate innovators that we talk to, they go to higher education primarily for 3 to 4 things, right? First is job. Second is they want to do further studies in India, like CAT, MTechs. If they want to get into the UPSCs, or they want to write GRE, GMAT, and then go out of this country, and probably the public sector options that they have. But as a focused activity, as a focused arm of giving them an opportunity of entrepreneurship as a career choice, these incubators have to play a very, very crucial role. There are some sort of institutions, innovation councils from Ministry of Education that have also been rolled out, and we work closely with those ISCs as well. And the attempt is that if you are able to excite only 10% of this whole generation into picking up entrepreneurship as a career choice, so I think we'll be able to get sort of a better quality of people picking up the problem-solving mindset. And also, if you look at recent campus recruitments that are happening, a lot of these corporates that we talk to, they're also looking at a problem-solving mindsets among these even the employees that they want to hire. So it's not only important as an entrepreneur that you start developing this problem-solving mindset, but also even if you want to get employed, you would be tasked with some of these assignments where you would have to take these leadership roles, you have to take some accountability, and just still go and solve these kind of problems, right? So the first element that we try to engage is through education, right? Second part is through the pre-incubation programs. What do we do in these pre-incubation programs? So the primary agenda of this pre-incubation program is to create this so-called 10% of these people who have been excited in this phase one of education intervention to start participating in a lot of these hackathons that are being now offered by various ministries, by various corporates. So if you have heard about a lot of these grand challenges opportunities that are coming up by various ministries, even they act like a platform for these inspired kids to pick up some of these problem solving hackathons or grand challenges and so on and so forth, right? So if you are able to funnel it through the a value chain of education and pre-incubation, you are able to create another battery of people who are very excited to create some products or services for the betterment of the society, right? And then comes our role as an incubator. Primarily when we see that these people who have been trained or who have been mentored through this journey of education and pre-incubation, and when they are ready to take a plunge into their own journey of entrepreneurship, that's when an incubator starts acting. Because for us as an incubator is nothing but an ecosystem where we are able to pick up some of these ideas which may be raw, which may not be raw, right? So depending upon these ideas that these guys bring on, we are able to connect them with our mentors, because the strength of these incubators are the mentor onboarding that we do. It's a very, very careful selection of the mentors that we onboard, and primarily the kind of mentoring networks that we are trying to build are one on the individual mentors, right? So these are the people who have built the businesses, who have lost money, who have broken the businesses. So basically the practitioners of these businesses who have been into some of these big organizations, both in India and outside. And so their perspective of how do you go about building your business, how do you pick the technology, how do you build the right architecture also. You need a lot of design intervention, a lot of business intervention is required. So this individual mentor network is the one arm of the mentor network that we are building. Second support is through the partner network, and there are two folds to that partner network. One is our academic partners, and second is the corporate partners. So as I was mentioning, a lot of these corporates, they are trying to run their own corporate innovation programs. So you would have heard about KPIT, Sparkle, Hack Within Fee. TCS another runs their DISC challenge. So there are many corporates who are partnering with us to make sure that we are able to take their problem statements, offer these problem statements to these various teams of these multiple students being chosen from multiple streams, and then they start working together as a team. So thereby they start developing the camaraderie amongst themselves in terms of how do you work as a team. It has to be a complementary skill sets, that when you want to build a solution, it's not just one person heroics that would take you to a certain level, right? So all these aspects that we see is offered through our corporate partners and the academic partners. They also give us an opportunity to understand their networks, right? So because they are working as a full-fledged businesses, so they many times come up with the market insights that are very, very difficult to find through these social media apps or Google and so on and so forth. So it's a ground zero reality that these corporate partners bring, and they can extend, they can co-create some of these solutions that they would have otherwise taken humongous resources on their side also to create. So that's second network that we are trying to build. Third network that we build is focused around the funding for these startups that we are supporting. And in the entire value chain of the funding support, if you look at, both on the grant side, you would have heard a lot of these governments, various ministries are coming up with their own grant challenges. And the beauty of these grant challenges is that each of these ministries, they themselves act like a partner for you to fund your building of your prototypes and POCs. And if you are able to build those things as one of the fantastic products, they become your first buyer as well, right? So a lot of these grand challenges in terms of DST supporting, BIREX support, and AIC support that you get. Also, you would have noticed a recent announcement where the government of India has recently announced a Startup India seed funding scheme, SISF. And the agenda is that around 950 CR fund would be disbursed through these 300 odd incubators that the government want to support these startups, right? So these are another support system that are being created by government. Lot of corporates, as I was mentioning, they want to support through their CSR funding programs to build these proof of concepts and prototypes. A lot of angel kind of investors, seed support schemes that we have. So that forms the core of the third pillar of our support system in the form of both grants and the seed and angel support. And I know we were talking about that, Dr. Patha, about a debt funding to be made available, right? And we saw the great support that BYST provides through this consortium of those 5 to 6 banks, which also kind of acts as a consortium while we talk to these individual banks like HDFC, we have spoken, and Bank of India, which is our own banker. So while we can reach out to these individual banks, but there is still a very, very weak ecosystem from the debt funding to be made available to these young, passionate innovators. Uh, Fourth, but definitely not the least one, is the international partner, right? So if you look at a lot of these economies around the world, they are pretty excited about to get this slice of incubation, startup, innovation, entrepreneurship from the Indian context, right? Because they might have a brilliant technology, but if you're not able to deploy that, if you're not able to customize that technology to the local use, to the local needs of the country, it's not going to go anywhere, right? You can't scale that up, right? A classic example is the Alexa, right? So if you can just ask Alexa in English and Hindi, it's going to reach out to limited number of people. But if you are able to train it up on multiple languages in the country, you will have a phenomenal usage when the local people can start interacting with Alexa in its local languages in India, which is Marathi, Telugu, Urdu, and all the other languages that we have. So I think from that interest perspective, a lot of these foreign based organizations, whether they are incubators, whether they are innovation centers within these universities or the accelerators. So we are seeing a lot of interest from Germany, Australia, US, and UAE, which are kind of trying to help these startups in India also to connect the startup to startup, right, across the borders. So those four systems, as I mentioned, right, the individual mentor network by the people who have come back to this country and are willing to help these young, passionate innovators, the partner network through the academia and the corporate, the fund support system through the angel seed support investor network, and the international partner network. So if you look at the entire ecosystem that we are trying to put together, and since there is a skin in the game from the government side, so there are a lot of organization in terms of the foundations that are coming together. So recently we had our a training of the CEOs of the Atal incubation centers across the country, which was funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Vadvani Foundation was part of that whole drive to do that training session. So there's a lot of emphasis in terms of collaboration to come up into this ecosystem, and never ever in this kind of a scenario has this country seen, wherein the collaboration across the borders have helped all of us to put together this a phenomenal thing called vaccine in flat 340 days, wherein now you would have seen these newspapers today and in recent past that they are trying to work together to wave off these IPs so that the humanity can come out as a winner out of during these testing times. So I would just leave you with some of the things that we as an ecosystem we were able to put together. We recently ran one of the program with the school kids, and these school kids, mind you, were the top 50, 4 teams out of top 50 school teams, which are selected as part of Atal Tinkering Marathon. One school could not even speak English, or forget about English, they could not even speak Hindi properly. They were from Jharkhand. So the second team was from Amity International School in Delhi. Third was from Gyan Prabodhini in Pune. And fourth was from Kendriya Vidyalaya, Hyderabad. So if you look at these kind of times wherein we are able to handhold these, support these kids who are not even speaking the same language. So if you are able to give them the mentors who speak their language. So as AIC, we were able to dig deep into our mentor network, and we were able to assign the mentor networks who spoke that language, the native language of these kids. And you have to see the transformation that these kids were able to do after that 10 weeks program. So I think, as I said, it's the collaboration. And thankfully, we are in a stage where we are able to get that support from both, from all the three pillars of the society, of government, corporate, and academia, to build this phenomenal ecosystem. So let me just quickly show you what we were able to do that as a program. And it truly was a mind-boggling experience when we looked at these kids, and when we worked with those kids.
इस बार अटल टिंकरिंग मैराथन का जो स्टूडेंट इनोवेटर प्रोग्राम है, ये कोरोना की वजह से जो पूरा ऑनलाइन हुआ, मुझे बड़ी खुशी है कि ये जो उनके स्कूल से सोसाइटी तक का जो सफर है, जिसमें वे प्रोटोटाइप बिल्डिंग, MVP, विभिन्न मार्केट्स के जो उन्होंने ट्रेड्स हैं, ये सभी बहुत अच्छे से सीखे.
The project helped us to find a motivation. Thanks to the constructive criticism by mentors and supermentors.
किसी भी एक फोकस एरिया पर ध्यान केंद्रित कर प्रोजेक्ट के डिजाइन को कैसे बेहतर बनाया जा सकता है.
प्रोजेक्ट को प्रोडक्ट एवं इनोवेटर से एंटरप्रेन्योर की यात्रा कैसे की जा सकती है, इसकी अच्छे से मुझे जानकारी हुई.
The program also taught us how to find flaws in our prototype and
It taught me new concepts like business plan, go-to-market strategy, intellectual property, and much more.
Specifically, the mentoring sessions and guidance sessions on Friday were very helpful for our team, and we kept on refining our designs and presentations every week.
When I got the mail about this program with the roadmap, which shows the perfect planning and methodology to think out of the box to bring ideas into reality.
It has kept me enthralled constructively and has opened up my ideas, my mind to new ideas, innovations and thoughts.
कैसे एक प्रोजेक्ट को प्रोडक्ट की ओर डेवलप करें, कैसे मार्केट प्लान बनाएं और कैसे प्रोडक्ट को मार्केट में ले जाएं.
How to define a problem statement, building a prototype, how to develop a business plan and financial planning आणि इतर सेशन्स अतिशय साध्या सोप्या आणि मुलांना समजण्यास होते आणि हे सर्व आपल्या मातृभाषेमध्ये मांडण्याची मुलांना मुभा होती. त्यामुळे सगळीच मुले खूप कॉन्फिडंट आणि कम्फर्टेबल होती.
I was mentoring a team from Amity School, Noida. We're trying to solve the global problem of pollution due to use of plastic.
The program was very structured, exciting, growth-oriented, and the most important point is that the mentors were carefully chosen.
And I think SIP gave them a very nice platform from knowledge, skills perspective, as well as give them enough time to go into depth of each stage of creating a venture and how to nourish those ideas and thoughts.
It has been a tremendous experience working with these kids and learning across the whole journey. Thank you.
These young innovators came from different cultures and different geographies across India. They have been chosen from the top 50 across the nation. And I'm proud to say 2 of these teams post our mentoring has been selected for the Young Innovation Program with Russia.
इनको पूरे एक प्लेटफॉर्म में लाना ये बहुत बड़ा टास्क था. प्रोग्राम में 2 टीम ऐसी थी जो रूरल एरिया की थी, जिनको लैंग्वेज का थोड़ा इश्यूज था. हमें वो उनके लैंग्वेज का मेंटर असाइन करना पड़ा.
It's a unique program because for the first time in India, government, industry, and academia have joined hands to bring on the facets of innovation from some of these young entrepreneurs or young students, as we call it, to the actual grassroots, from grassroots to the actual society.
And I will just share this last screen wherein what as an incubator what we have been able to create that impact. While I leave this screen, I was very happy to note when you were introducing Sujata ji, Dr. Pata, about BYST still operating as a Guru Shishya Parampara. I think it's high time that we move on from one to many kind of teaching methodologies to our Guru Shishya Parampara, wherein we are able to handhold these kids individually, right? Because they are all individual stories, right? So if you are able to work with these kids on an individual level, small groups, right? I think we'll be doing a phenomenal service to these kids and this next generation, so that they start thinking about creating the global ventures in terms of and what we have also noticed that when we talk to these young people, they are much more cautious than our generation in terms of what would be the impact as far as social impact is concerned. So we are very excited to work with these people in terms of what their thought process is, and through these networks, as I was mentioning, we are very blessed to work with this generation who only thinks about creating impact at a global level, not just at a city level or a village level, but they are very, very excited. So I'll leave it up to that. And once again, thank you, Dr. Partha, for having me here. And I wish the entire show a grand success. And I hope that everyone stays safe and we are able to get over with this whole calamity sooner than later. And since the vaccine is around, so we'll be able to get into the huddle and can support this ecosystem much faster than what we all have been doing for last 1.5 years. Thank you once again, and namaskar.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Dubey, for your tremendous presentation. We are very happy to note that the elaborate way in which MIT ADT is working along with this. I have two quick questions to you. How is the acceptance level with respect to your students and the community in general? See, teaching something is different, facilitating something is different, but what is the acceptance level and how successful they are? Why I am asking this question is, I think sometime in the month of March or sometime we entered into formal MOU to facilitate the incubators of your AIC. But if I see the response of for this expo, I'm not claiming that no, we are doing something extraordinary or whatever it is. But whenever there is an opportunity for funding, I think there has to be some enthusiasm, and we are not just doing only the connecting the bankers and the funders and so on. We do both the debt funding with through BOST and also international funding through various agencies, as you are aware of that. But if I see the general acceptance with respect to the AICs, there is a very lukewarm response. I just want to understand out of the academic interest, where do I go wrong so that this exercise can be reworked and brought into a better shape? That's the main idea behind that.
Let me thank you, Dr. Partha, for that wonderful question, because as a human being, we try to understand that this next generation, why are they not responding to our call of this, right? I mean, I am here to give you money. Why are you not still coming back and asking me for money? Please understand the challenge that I see. Let me flip this question. Why would I go and ask you money if I don't have something, I don't have a confidence that my product, my service is not up to the mark, that I would be needing money for that? When I talk to these people, I say only three things. Tell me these three things. How much money do you need? What will you do with this money? And as an investor, what is my interest to
Generally
give you
reply.
this money in the first class?
Right, sure.
Right? If
Right.
if for me, I as an investor, I have an option to choose from multiple asset class that I have. See, if I just put my money into an FD in a bank or a small savings account in a post office, I will still be making some money, right? You need to
At
just
least it
tell
is
me.
safe. At least it is safe.
That's the safest option. But if you are coming to me and asking my this money to be put into your startup, you need to justify that the impact that you would be able to create from your solution would be much bigger than your safety net that I'm trying to put in. So instead of thinking it from a perspective that I was not able to attract more and more number of people towards this kind of a program, let me give you another insight to that. The challenge that we see, we only want to celebrate people we see on the screen, right? If we only see people who are out there on the screen, then we see, because the only news that we see in the market is Baiju got $2 billion, right? Some other book startup got some other funding, right? But when you actually talk to these people, they don't have a sense of why do they need funding, what quantum of funding do they need, right? And I don't want to blame anybody, but the challenge and the reality is that most of these students, even the MBA students, even the designer students, the design people, they don't understand technology, right? The technology people will never understand the design part of it. Both of them do not even understand what is debit and credit. Forget about the finances part of it. MBA people that we talk to, if we ask them, was what is the difference between a debt funding and a equity funding, they will not even know this kind of one liner. So it's and that's why I was telling you, right? It's about the engagement. It starts from there. Are we able to engage? Are we able to work with these sort of smaller groups in a mentoring format? And as I was mentioning earlier, it is not like an academic system that I'm going to run batches of 50-50, 1 is to 50 kind of a classroom that people would come back. So for me, the excitement is if I'm able to get just 10% of this classroom, which means if there were a classroom for 60 people, if I'm able to get 6 kids out of that 60 classroom excited enough to look at entrepreneurship as a career choice, I'll be more than happy to work with these 6 kids, because we don't have success stories coming from these grassroots levels, which we are able to demonstrate. So if I tell them, boss, I have a money, you come and take this money. But if I ask them, why do you need this money? They will not be able to answer that. So instead of looking at was we are not able to attract, we need to invest our time and energy going back to what constitutes in these people, so that they start thinking in that direction of creating a venture or problem solving mindset, so that they are able to answer these kind of questions, even to ask for the money. Many seasoned entrepreneurs that we sit on, they can't ask for the money.
Correct. Correct. See, actually, we conduct this rather these entrepreneur development programs along with BOST every month, almost do it. Even twice a month we do it. There we observe one interesting thing. Out of 100, if you counsel 100, I think maximum 2 or 3 persons have got a solid idea to tell you that yes, I want to start this. That is one biggest disadvantage I found in this, even in this for people who have the entrepreneurial attitude. So if you work out by your statistics and my statistics put together, 3% out of 1,000 become an eligible entrepreneur to get a funding. That is it's a very irrational calculation, I would say. But still, as a thumb rule, it's okay. So going by that figure also, in yesterday's session, there was a very senior personality from BYST. She has worked 25 years along with BYST as a mentor, an ex-women cricketer, and also a very staunch practitioner of this entrepreneurship. So what she suggested was towards the end of the program, why don't you move a concept of where you can go and create, gather the ideas of the students even. It may not be a project, but if they have ideas, let's listen to it, and then let's try to mentor them and convert it into a prospective business opportunity. So that was the conclusion of yesterday's inaugural session. So we are planning very seriously work upon that. So with people like you, maybe I think we can surge ahead and do it. So in the interest of time, I now request Ms. Sujata to take up, and then I want to say yes to life. So she wants us to say yes to life. Let's understand why she wants us to say yes. Over to you, Ms. Sujata.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dr. Parsati. Dr. Dubey, Mohat Dubey, I'm really inspired by your words. To take knowledge and concept and management to the common person is something phenomenal, sir. I'm inspired by your words, and yes, I would like to say here, I'll work with you in whichever way possible. What Dr.
Madam,
Mohit Dubey?
excuse me. I think you have a bandwidth issue. If you want, maybe you can mute your camera so that your voice is better at least.
Oh,
That will be
wonderful,
such.
sir. That will
Yeah,
be
yeah,
wonderful. Thank you so
yeah,
much for sharing that.
yeah.
Is my audio better now?
It's better now. It's better now.
Wonderful. So I would like to share that, one, Dr. Mohit had presented about ecosystem, creating ecosystems which are very suitable, and also creating that which is meaningful for those ecosystems, about the funding. So he gave us a whole new picture itself. So what I intend to do is, when I see that outside has been created so well, even Dr. Parsati was saying that, the same thing doctor was saying, that Parsati ji was saying that, can we, why people don't take the help of these things when these kinds of supports are coming? Now, in evolving economies like the BRICS, now the whole scenario is changing. The latest statistics, I don't know. But among BRICS, Brazil, Russia are into natural resources. India, China, and South Africa. India and China are into services. So Indians, our way of culture itself is Atiti Devo Bhava. We tend to offer that which we see as a great service. Our search in spirituality has probably made us humble, and to a certain extent, in the developed countries, we look a little confused. To upskill ourselves is an important aspect. Is it wrong to go into spirituality? No, that is not what I want to say. It is so important to be spiritually grounded because we don't get shaken. Any developed country, like Dr. Mohit was sharing, that it is important to reach to the common man, and I would support that by saying that it is the evolving countries, the Eastern culture, where we are seeing how joint family, respect for each other has been ingrained for generations. It is a culture. The support and the value that these systems gave is something which cannot be understood at all initially. It looks like, why am I talking of joint families? All right. But imagine the emotional support. Some mama, some didi, some cousin, some uncle, some periappa, some periamma would have come and supported the child who is growing. Today, nuclear families and developed countries are struggling, trying to, because of independence, feeling of freedom and independence, they made a choice to move away. However, now they need that emotional support. How am I linking these topics from where Dr. Mohit has left to where am I uh, taking it to? I'm saying, let's look at ourselves. Can we upskill ourselves? We look the way we look. So what? But can we upskill ourselves? My skin may not be the global acceptance level. So what? Can we become inclusive, and can we become so capable that everybody feels like including us? We develop ourselves, then the world will also want to open arms, invite us to contribute our intelligence. If we can build our resilience and we strengthen our ethics and ground ourselves, we are saying yes to life. Before I proceed further, I would like to share a video. This is a video of a lady. I'm giving you the context I'm setting. This lady, we call her Dadi ji. All right. She had 3 children, a husband, very happy in that family. Life situations threw her off ground, and she lost all her 3 children. So, should she be depressed and crying? No. Here is a lady who is 70 plus and stands for the true value of being motivated from within. Why hesitate from what I am? I am what I am. Can I upskill myself better? You listen to this audio, and I will bring out those of you who cannot follow Hindi. I will be translating it and bringing out the key points. You will understand by the body language. This is the same scene most places of India. We know very well, but we don't know that we know. We have our resources with us, but we don't know how to bring those resources into a monetizing kind of organization. So I'm going to touch upon few topics. The first one, let's go and listen to Dadiji. Here you go.
ऑर्डर आया, ऑर्डर ऑर्डर कितना देर लगेगा दादी?
5 मिनट। मेथी का थेपला, भाजी भी तैयार है, पराठा भी अभी बना के देती हूँ। मेथी का आटा दो, काजू दे थोड़ा, साबुदाना तैयार है, पटेटा दे वाला कट।
2 बार हार्ट अटैक दादी को, 77 दोनों 2 बार हार्ट अटैक, अभी डायबिटिक पेशेंट है। उसके बाद मेरे को एक जन आप दिखा दो कि इतना काम कर सकता है। आफ्टर लूजिंग सो मच, व्हाट मोटिवेट्स मी? मेरा तो एक्सीडेंट हुआ, आई लॉस्ट माय अपर लिप। मैं तो मेंटल ट्रॉमा में चले गया एक इंटरव्यू देखा जाए तो। लाइक क्या हो गया करके अपर लिप गया, कुछ ज्यादा नहीं गया। आई लॉस्ट माय सन, आई लॉस्ट माय दिस, आई लॉस्ट एवरीथिंग एंड आई एम हियर विद यू। हम YouTube पे डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज देखते रहते हैं, सचिन की मोटिवेशन के लिए, फेडरर की, इसकी उसकी। मेरे सामने तो इंस्पिरेशन मेरे घर में है।
दादी सुबह से 5 बजे से दादी को बोलेंगे कि दादी आप 5 बजे से आज आपको काम है और रात को 9 बजे तक, तो दादी कंटिन्यूसली काम करे विदाउट एनी ब्रेक। मुझे ब्रेक चाहिए और ब्रेक नहीं चाहिए तो मैं गिव अप करने वाली हूँ। अभी मेरा होमोग्लोबिन भी 14 है, तो बोलता तेरे पास आया किधर? अभी किधर गया वो तो भगवान को मालूम क्या है। तभी का जमाने का खाना भी अच्छा था, अभी ये सब पिज्जा पिज्जा और ये सब नहीं था। तभी हम सब अच्छा अच्छा खा के हमारा तबियत बनाया है। दादी की एज इतनी है तो भी वो कभी थकती नहीं है, और मैं अभी से थक जाती हूँ, और मैं वो उनकी एज की होगी तब तक तो मैं एकदम से कुछ काम नहीं कर पाऊंगी और ऐसे ही खाट पे बैठी रहूंगी। अभी आप बोलो 50 चपाती बनाने का कि 100 चपाती के 100 थेपले बनाने का, तो मेरे को कोई ऐसा नहीं होता हाय मैं कैसे बनाऊंगी, ऐसा नहीं होता। मैं बना लेती हूँ, 1 मिनट जैसे ऑर्डर आएगी वैसे बनाती हूँ। पोहा, उपमा, सूखी भाजी, साबुदाने का खिचड़ी और पूरी, थेपला, चपाती, पनीर का भाजी, पालक का भाजी, ये सब बनाने का बना देती हूँ फटाफट।
दादी इज द हार्ट ऑफ दिस बिजनेस। दादी इज द हार्ट। अभी दादी अगर नहीं हो तो आई कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग।
हम लोग गिव अप करेंगे पर दादी हमारे लिए रॉक है, वो कभी नहीं हिलेंगे, हम मिल जाएंगे। मेरा नाम उर्मिला जमुना दास आसर है, मैं 77 ईयर्स की हूँ। नहीं, साबुदाना खिचड़ी बनाने का है, वो बना उसको बोलो साबुदाना तैयार है। बटेटा थी, मेरे को बचपन से ही खाना बनाने का शौक था। हम सबके घर में जाके भी थोड़ा बहुत खाना बनाती थी, थोड़ा बहुत नाश्ता बना के आती थी। तो कुछ भी करो, काम करने में कोई शर्म नहीं है।
दादी से मैंने ये सीखा है कि सबको अच्छा खाना खिलाने का, और किसी का भी ऐसे कुछ बुरा वक्त आए कि कुछ भी आए, मगर सबको संभाल के रखने का।
मेरे 3 बच्चे थे। एक मेरी छोटी 2.5 साल की बच्ची यहाँ ऊपर से गिर के मर गई। दूसरे बच्चे को ब्रेन ट्यूमर हुआ था, और तीसरा बच्चा मेरा टिफिन देके आता था, तभी मैं टिफिन सर्विस भी हम लोग नहीं करते थे, तो उसका इधर ही रास्ते में हार्ट फेल हो गया उसका।
So Papa passed away. Of course, I was not earning that much, and I just started my studies. It was very difficult, honestly. It was very difficult. She handled the family very nicely. कैसा कर लिया, क्या कर लिया, किधर से पैसे आते थे, क्या किधर ये मेहनत करते थे, मेरे को तो इस चीज का पता भी नहीं है।
अभी याद तो आने वाली है, बच्चे लोग की याद नहीं आएगी ऐसा तो नहीं है, लेकिन अभी मैंने ऐसा ही सोचा पीछे वाले का क्या, कौन संभालेगा, और कौन है मेरे पास, हमारे पास।
एक चीज तो मैंने देखा है कि इनका पॉकेट कभी खाली नहीं होता है, ना हुआ है आज तक। अगर मैं रेट्रोस्पेक्ट में देखूं उस चीज को कि मेरे को सब चीजें कैसे मिल जाती थी, मैं भी सोचता हूँ कि हाउ, अभी ये पढ़ी लिखी नहीं है, ऑल दे नो इज हार्ड वर्क।
हर्ष का एक्सीडेंट हो गया बाइक पे, तभी उसका इतना बड़ा एक्सीडेंट हो गया कि उसका जबान भी कट गया था, तो हमारे सब बिल्डिंग के सब बच्चे लोग उधर भागे, तो वो लोग सब उस जगह पे गए जिधर एक्सीडेंट हुआ था उधर, तो उधर से उसका कटा हुआ जबान मिला बच्चे लोग को, तो वो एक प्लास्टिक के बैग में डाल के वो लोग लेके आए और हॉस्पिटल में ताबड़तोड़ दिया। तभी हर्ष का ऑपरेशन चल रहा था, तो उसको इधर प्लास्टिक सर्जरी किया इतना बार में।
एक आइडेंटिटी क्राइसिस हो गया था मेरे अपने आप से, क्या 30 इयर्स ओल्ड और प्रोफेशनल करियर वर्चुअली अपसाइड डाउन चले गया। दादी ही थी जिसने मम्मी को संभाला, जिसने दादा को संभाला, जिसने पूरी फैमिली को संभाला, और एक भी आंसू नहीं निकला है कि कोई बात नहीं, ही विल कम बैक। इनफैक्ट हॉस्पिटल ने ऑलमोस्ट डेड डिक्लेयर कर दिया था मुझे।
फर्ज बनता है कि बच्चे लोगों को अपने को हेल्प करने का। अभी उसको गिरने नहीं देने का, अभी मेरा नौकरी है, मैं क्या करूंगा, मैं क्या नहीं करूंगा, उसको हिम्मत देना जरूरी है ना।
एक पंजाबी छोले 5 पूरी 4 पैकेट मीठी थेपला
पांजो बटाटा पाव रेडी नहीं है, बटाटा पाव अकड़ा रेडी नहीं बरोबर है।
लॉकडाउन में हर्ष का थोड़ा सर्विस का ये हो गया, फिर हम सोचा क्या करेंगे।
दादी के पास रफली 40+ इयर्स का एक्सपीरियंस है लंदन।
So coming back to, I hope you have seen the video, and I would like to share that this is what it is. A 77-year-old lady has gone on, started her life at 77. How can I restart my life? How can I make it happen that I build myself? It is so important. If for those of you who are wanting to see this video, I will make sure that you can get this. You can search Dadi Ji on YouTube. You want to be inspired and motivated. See, in our personal life, if we are not motivated and we are not really ready to do things ourselves, then what are we achieving in life? It is so important to stay motivated. Yes, people around us will doubt us, people around us will get upset, something or the other will go wrong. But do you have that one friend? Do you have that one person who's your support, who can guide you? I can tell you wholeheartedly, we find this every day in our life in BYST. Someone or the other is motivating us and saying, "Ma'am, we are there for you," or "Sir, we are there for you." Like Patsati sir was telling me that, "Ma'am, you just start the talk, ma'am. We will support you what we have to support you." We are learning new technologies. We are learning new platforms to just share that which we are good in. So learning, willing to learn is one aspect of it. We have probably lost a lot in life. In the face of that difficulty, can I still stand up? Can I start looking out not just at those people who are laughing at me, look out for those people who are willing to support us? Like Dr. Mohit was saying, reach out to these kinds of platforms which are really supporting, truly supporting, not just trying to give a talk of motivation. So what happens is this is that once I am motivated, I become courageous. And I become courageous enough. Now I can face negative feedback and I learn to use feedback for improvement. Like initially sir was telling that ma'am, maybe you can, the bandwidth quality is slightly low, ma'am, if you can switch off your video. I just cooperated with him on that. How can I reach out to you all audience? Because of the support that we are getting from each other. The attempt is so honest and we know what we can deliver. I would like to share that. Just, I am very confident. Will it be very helpful? I have to be watchful of two things. The first thing I'm going to show. I have a cup of water here. I hope you all are able to see. How long can I hold this cup of water? How much weight is it going to be? Pathati sir, you only answer no.
No, I didn't get the question.
What is the weight of this glass, sir?
Maybe around 50, 60 grams.
Isn't it? Now, this 15 or 60 grams that you're saying, if I'm holding it for 5 seconds, will I find it strenuous?
No.
If I hold it for a whole day, will it be painful?
It will be even after 15, 20 minutes.
Absolutely. Our ability to withstand stress, we break down when it matters most. Because we didn't know how to handle our emotions, we didn't know how to handle our physical self. Now, this is an important aspect, friends, that outside environment is constantly changing. What about my inner environment? How can I manage myself better? Here, some practices we should bring in within ourselves. Every day we can't sit and see a person who has lost his life, has lost his limbs, and so motivate ourselves. Can I become a motivated person from within, a self-start? If I become a self-start and I handle my learning well and I work with people, collaborate with people, suddenly I become an inspiration for others. How many of you want to be an inspiration for others? Everyone. We see, the fact is I can't live forever here. But as long as I live, every breath, can I be motivated? Can I become collaborative? Can I become more inclusive? Can I support someone in life? Towards this, the one person who has made a major change in my life, Sureshi, I'm going to ask him to teach something which is very important. This practice called Simha Kriya, I'm handing over to Suresh sir. So, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Parthsarthi and Dr. Dubey. That was very interesting to hear about all the entrepreneurs and the kind of challenges that we face in motivating them. Now, when we get into an airplane, the first thing they say is if oxygen levels fall low and the mask fall down, they ask us first to cover our nose first and then go to the aid of other people. Similarly, in HR parlance, in Maslow's hierarchy, the first thing that he says is it's all about your basic needs. How do you meet until your basic physical and mental needs are met, you cannot really rise to higher levels. And very similar thing is talked about in yoga also, where they talk about 7 different major chakras, and the base or the Muladhara chakra is given a lot of importance because If the Muladhara chakra is kept stable, that is when higher possibilities are available to you. So in today's scenario, while we have a lot of wonderful ideas as entrepreneurs, the grim truth is that we do not know when and where the coronavirus can strike us. So initially it was said that it is all by touch, and then the scientists are saying it is airborne. So whatever you do, it looks as if you really cannot escape. So the only way out seems to be, how do we equip ourselves to improve our immunity and build up our resistance to ensure that whatever happens, even if the coronavirus does impact us, we're still able to overcome and get on with what we need to do and contribute to this world. So I'd like to play a small video, and this is called Simakriya, and it's basically a very simple exercise to boost the immune system and increase the lung capacity.
Are you sharing your screen, Mr. Suresh?
Just a minute. Okay, is my screen, oh sorry, just a minute.
Yeah, it is there.
Is the screen visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yes.
Okay, just give me a minute, I will start the
audio.
Yeah.
Simha Kriya. In these unusually challenging times of a global pandemic, having a robust immune system and a well-functioning respiratory system becomes of paramount importance. Ancient yogic techniques are known to have many benefits for the body, mind, and energies. Here is an offering from Sadhguru, a yogi, mystic, and visionary. Sadhguru offers Simha Kriya, a simple but powerful yogic practice to boost the immunity and enhance our lung capacity. This practice can be done by anyone, with a few exceptions specified in the practice instruction video. Especially for those who do not have any other powerful process to support their system during these times, Simha Kriya can be extremely beneficial. Sadhguru will be giving the instructions. It is important that you receive these instructions properly. Please dedicate the next 10 minutes exclusively for this process. Please do not attempt the practice while watching the video. First, listen to the complete instructions and then attempt the practice on your own.
So this is a simple practice. This is not relevant to people who are doing Shakti Chalana Kriya. It's not necessary to do this. But it could be done. If you're doing Shakti Chalana Kriya in the morning, in the evening, you can do it, or in the afternoon if you're hungry enough, you can do it. Otherwise, for those of you who do not know any other powerful process, this will help. One thing is, it will enhance your lung capacity. Another thing is, it'll enhance your immunity. And above all, if you can do it today, if you can do it for next 5 days, and suddenly one day you're not able to do it, this means definitely you got some respiratory problem. It may not be this particular virus, but it could be anything else. It doesn't matter what it is, you must have yourself checked if you suddenly find you're not able to do it. What it involves is that you have to fully stretch your tongue out with your mouth fully open, and then breathe as powerfully as possible without jerking the abdomen, but powerful pushing in and pushing out, both inhalation, exhalation, 21 times. And when it is done, you roll up your tongue upward, push it as further back as you can. You don't have to use your hands, it's not a good time to use your hands. So roll up your tongue fully as much as you can by itself, like, and still with your mouth open. Again breathe the same way. Inhalation, exhalation as powerfully as possible, but you must get the sound by making a constriction in your throat like this. The sound must be there, it's important that you form a constriction at the throat level, at the pit of your throat, and make the sound, and inhalation, exhalation, fully exhaling, fully inhaling as powerfully as you can, but without jerking the abdomen, another 21 times with the tongue rolled up. Throughout the whole process, you have your…
Just a minute.
Is it over?
No, just a minute. I'm just trying to, the picture seems to be freezing, so I thought I'll go off the video and then do that. 1 minute, please.
No, we understood the process.
Okay.
So,
Maybe because of the interest of the time, maybe we can
Sure.
avoid the video.
So it's available on YouTube, just
Yeah,
Simakriya. So yeah, so this is a 2-minute exercise. It's available as Simakriya on YouTube, and it can boost the immunity and the lung capacities. And people who have undergone, even undergone the COVID once, they have found relief after doing this, learning this, and practicing this. So thank you
thank
for
you so
giving
much,
me an
Suresh.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Suresh. So, what I see, friends, is that can we improve ourselves? Can we make ourselves more meaningful? First, stabilize our health, work towards these are difficult times. I agree. But does it mean, more importantly, that can we keep our health regime, which is very important? There is the social voice of, where I work very hard. Means I forget my food, I forget my, it seems a quality, forgetting food and forgetting health, personal health. It is so important that we follow the COVID rules that are necessary and also take care of our physical health. It is so important, okay, to stay motivated. You stay motivated, you handle yourself very well. This will lead you to greater success because this is the only tool you have with you to carry on in your life. So, the way you handle yourself, the way you handle your inner well being is a very important aspect. The second of it is that how do I organize my personal life? If I can organize my personal life well, that means I'm able to prioritize all that is important for myself so that these are points which even Dr. Mohit touched upon, Parsati sir touched upon, and many others, even in our senior mentors and BYST, touch upon. If we can organize ourselves, connect with the right method and platform, suddenly the whole thing becomes so much more easy for everyone. They ask the mentee, we ask as a mentor, we ask our mentees, are you able to scale up? How do you intend to scale up? So, what happens is that can I organize my learning, organize the technology that I need to use, connect ahead and see is it working properly, connect properly and see that not just give an answer, oh, yes, 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 but then handling oneself very well. So, in organizing self, I look at these factors. One, how is my initiative taking? Am I able to organize my knowledge very well? How do I present to people when I'm presenting my knowledge? Am I incorporating feedback? Am I communicating properly? Am I taking the feedback in a healthy way? Can I see a brighter future for myself and for the people with whom I'm working? Can I show respect to others and empathy to others as I am working and I expect people to understand my situation too? All these, next, most important, my emotions. Am I regulating my emotions properly as I am open to listening to others' emotions, helping them handle their emotions properly? All this comes into personal organization. The next aspect of it is the professional dimension. In every individual, we are the one link common between our professional life and personal life. So it is so important that we handle our relations, ourselves, our health very well. Also, keep our interpersonal skills. Keep ourselves aside passing judgment about others. Keep ourselves away from that. By judging others, what are we going to gain? But if I see the good in the other person, I can do phenomenally well together. The future global skills required, among them empathy, inclusiveness, working beyond borders, are some qualities which we are promoting. I thank this opportunity given by BYST and India Startup 360. You all can ask questions so that would become a better way for bringing out greater things. To summarize what I have spoken about so far is that it is important, one, to stay motivated, two, to organize myself and my work, three, to improve and work and improve upon my interpersonal skills and my business skills, four, to see that my health is good and also I share well-being with the people around me. 5, in my network, I connect with people who say yes to me and my positive skills. Same way, I conclude by saying, let us say yes to life. That is the way we can live in a very healthy way. Over to you, sir, and over to the program. If there are any questions, I'll be willing to answer.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sujata Suresh. Yes, there is a big yes from my side to the life. It has always been my attitude that wherever there is a problem, whenever there is a problem, bounce back. Resilience is the key point at the time of pandemic. I think my other panelists will also will agree to it. And of course, who else on this, who on the earth is not a follower of the Sadhguru himself, the great souls? So thank you for your wonderful words and wonderful time. And I am damn sure that the listeners watching from the other end of the platform will also be enjoying the program. So in the interest of time, without spending much time, I call upon Nitin Kaushik to come again and then give his viewpoints about the legal aspects of a startup's life. Nitin, are
Thank you,
you there?
sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you very much.
thank you, sir. And even I look forward for Nitinji's conversations. Thank you
Thank
so
you. Thank
much.
you.
Best wishes for 360, India Startup 360 and to BYSD.
Yeah, thank you. Nitin, are you there? Yeah, Nitin. You had logged
Sir,
in
I'm
from
live now.
two. Yeah, you are live. You had logged in from two systems. I am a bit confused.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. Sir,
Are you going to share your screen?
see, legal part of the thing comes at the end, and it is, it is almost a formality, and it is, it's a matter of doing those formalities and procedures. Uh, but once for example, take it for a startup. Once the USP of a business is identified, uh, you know, uh, from then on, legal formalities can be sorted out. How to go about it. If it is an intellectual property driven business, or is just some general service or product, or but yeah, of course, it's best that we do it from the start, and put the papers in place, so that due diligence does not become an issue, and you are always ready for that from the from the step from the first step. So your entities are ready to take over those stages of your business. Uh, uh, so we need to. It's not a big issue. Apart from situations when something is complicated or difficult to get done. This is all I had to say. But I'll be open to, if you have any, if you want me to speak on something specific, then I look forward to that also.
With respect to legal compliance, maybe with respect to your pitch deck preparations and I think if you can throw a little light on that, that will be much useful. Because you have touched the very generic points, but definitely the participant expect a little more light on the legal compliances and what are the aspects that they need to fulfill with respect to become the legal entity, basically.
Yeah, sir. See, I mean, first step is that you incorporate the entity, and when you are incorporating it, there are certain things which are not, like, say, mandatorily required, but it's best to do that, because you will be incorporating the entity. You will get a commencement of business. You will do your articles, which will give you uh, overall how to run the company, and memorandum will tell you what all you can do from the entity. But it is also good to do, for example, a co-founders agreement, which will uh, lay down how the relationship of the co-founders is to be regulated, what are they to do, what are the procedures. uh, that is at the stage of incorporation. Then if you are doing a research and development, then you will be hiring people. So it's best to do, their papers should be in place. It should be fair, but at the same time it should protect the interest of the entity. And then you will go for an investment, especially investment, for example, a VC. Then it's or in any other case, it's best to keep it, keep the terms very clear, not just investment and how I will return it and all that, but also operations. Investors should not be interfering. Interrupting the business. They should, uh, so it should be in the best interest of the entity and its business, while keeping the interest of the investors also, in place. And then there are, of course, so legal work depends a lot. It is specific. It depends on what you are doing, where you are doing it, which state you are, forming the entity, where are your operations, and there are so many other factors. If you have any foreign investment, then there is a completely different procedure for that, which has to be complied. So, but generally, what I do is I do downplay the legal, the importance of legal. Once your business is in place, we know, and a consultant knows it well, then you can put in place the strategy. The other part is how to protect your intellectual property. The first step, of course, is to register it, because many startups I've seen, they don't even go for protecting their IP properly, or having it, and just the protection is not enough. Then you have to also keep an eye, and you also have to commercialize it, or popularize it also at the same time. So the one other factor is, if you have any disputes, and if you're contracting with your vendors or with your customers, then you have a very clear understanding and very clear strategy for how will you handle disputes. And the best way to do is to avoid it completely and to try that you don't have any dispute which go to the court at least. So that's the way to go, sir.
Okay, thank you, Nitin. Thank for your kind words. If
Yes.
Dr. Mohit is available, I'd like to ask him some questions with respect to this compliances.
Yes, Dr. Path, I'm here.
So, can you throw a little more details or the light about this particular aspect, the compliance as part with respect to Startup India? Let me be very precise upon that.
So basically, one thing I have noticed that most of these young people think that when they register their startup, when they register their company, and as soon as they get their CIN number, they think it's already covered under Startup India. Unfortunately, you don't qualify or you don't get named as a startup in this country unless until you get a number called DPIIT number. So as soon as someone gets their CIN number after ROC registration, we try to get them registered on DPIIT portal and get their DIPP number, so that these numbers that we keep on hearing that India is becoming the third largest source of startups. So that number comes from that database, not from the ROC number. So those are the kind of intervention, as I said, because it has never happened in this country, right? So people don't even differentiate between if you are a micro, small, medium enterprise. Recently, that change happened from the definition of what qualifies as, or the turnover numbers were increased for each of these categories. Right?
Correct.
So there are specific grants and support system being available if you are a startup in this country. For example, as Nitinji was mentioning about patenting. So if somebody is a DIPP registered startup, right? So their India patent filing fee is waived off up to 90%. Right? So there are many such schemes with regards to you being a DIPP, a registered startup, where you get a lot of other benefits, right? So, for example, if you are a DIPP registered startup and you have enrolled on a GEM portal, right, which is the government e-marketplace, so you get a lot of waivers in terms of when you are applying for some of the tenders. So I think it's also about creating awareness through these ecosystems. While I may not be a lawyer, I may not be a CA, but even before I connect, say, Nitinji to these people, this is the important role of the incubators to enlighten some of these young, passionate founders with these sort of facets of IPR, of audits and compliances, and registering their startups, and even making them aware that such things exist in the marketplace first, right? Because their educational background might not have taught them to even care about all of these things, right? So as I said, it's for us to help them to understand the importance of a CA, or even they don't even know when to reach to CA or a legal, right? So they think patenting can be done by a CA also, right? So we try to help them with these differentiators through the mentor networks, as I was mentioning earlier, because we have multiple CAs who are catering to some of these services for us. We have the panel of lawyers who help file the patents, who help file them the design registration and copyrights and GI and trademarks and so on and so forth. So we also need to make sure that a lot of these people first understand the importance and the need for this before even saying, I don't know what is a C and I don't know what is a CS, and I don't know what is the need for me for a legal guy to come in, right? So we have onboarded these set of professionals who help our startups to take a route, and we guide them to connect with these people who are onboarded with us as a mentor.
Very true. The another question I wanted to ask now, rather than the technical importance as a value add, how important is rather patent registering with respect to the net worth of a company?
So this is quite interesting question, and the reason why I use that word interesting is because if you look at today's scenario, the India and South Africa are fighting to get some waivers under the TRIPS arrangement, right, with US, Europe, and all that. We try to see that we want to create the IPs out of these startups, but essentially, when you want to create these IPs, and if you are able to share those IPs, if you're not able to share those IPs in the proper format, it may result into a lot of these challenges that Nitinji was mentioning about. That's one. Number two, while we all emphasize to create IP-driven startups, unfortunately, the overall ecosystem till date was primarily around the services, right, in India. In last 2 decades, because I also come from a Infosys background, and we have seen how the growth of these IT services or ITS services has happened in this country around the world. We have been able to stamp our authority as a service-driven economy, right? Unlike the China, which kind of invested humongously in creating these manufacturing and IP-driven innovations. I'll give you a very small trivial number. In this country, the total spend on R&D is 0.7% of the GDP, right? Out of that 0.7%, 0.6% of that contribution comes from the government organizations or the government, and it goes to the government organizations. So just look at 0.1% with the investment into the R&D kind of activities, you're not going to get anything out of it, right? And that's why you have this poor ecosystem as far as your patenting infrastructure is concerned, or your IPR outputs are concerned, right? Most of our IPR that exists in the universities or higher education system is aimed towards either creating a paper into journal or getting into a conference, so on and so forth, which is more on the publication side, right? There is very less focus on creating the patents through which you can create the monetization aspect of it, right? You need to do a lot of technology transfer if you own that IP. So that whole awareness also is kind of missing, because they thought that, oh, IP ka matlab I need to publish something in journal. Well, you have to, but if you can't monetize that, it's of no use for startup community. So it's important to have that flavor, but the more important aspect is that people needs to be trained that whenever you are creating these IPs, how do you take that IP to a market to commercialize that? Because if you're not able to do that, it's going to sit in your cupboard and it's not going to come out and help the community overall, right?
Quite true. Thank you for the detailed insight, Dr. Mohit. And it has been a very interesting session today. We went a little bit spiritual and also legal, and it's a mixed bag. So, with this feeling, I once again thank one and all, and of course, Madam
Just a
Sujata
word on
also thank.
spirituality. At MIT ADT University, we have the founder of this MIT group, Professor Vishwanath
I know,
Karat.
I know, I know.
We have at the campus we have built the world's largest peace dome, and they happen to do a World Peace Parliament every year. Due to Corona, it was not happening in an offline mode for last 2 years. But the motto of MIT as a group is to create the personalities, the human beings who are physically fit, mentally alert, and spiritually elevated. Because unless until there is a mix of this spirituality into our skills, the impact that we as Indians we can create is going to be only driven by commercials, and it has its own benefit to drive things from commercial perspective. But if you are not able to empathize, as Sujata ji was mentioning, the empathy factor would only come up if you come from this whole spiritual background, and if you're related, if you think that I'm going to create some products and services which is going to help these people, because for me innovation is all about creating things faster, better, and cheaper. As Indians, if you can't create these cheaper solutions, it will not be having an access and the impact that as Indians we want to create to the world. So I just wanted to add that word on the spiritual element that Sujata ji and you were mentioning beautifully.
Thank you
Quite
so
true.
much, Dr. Mohit. That's
Spirituality,
really
to
very
some
nice.
extent, makes a man selfless and also total Atma Samarpan towards the Almighty. So, and by virtue of this, a man becomes straightforward, and positive thinking comes into a man's personality. I think it has been a wonderful, wonderful session, and I should really thank one and all for the valuable time that you have shared. So, on behalf of entire India Startup 360 fraternity and BYST, I thank you, Dr. Mohit, and of course Ms. Sujata, and kind enough to Mr. Suresh that who has made it a point to join us, and of course our own friend Mr. Nitin Kaushik. So, with this note, I sign up for today's session, and I have an important announcement to make over here. As I was telling in the beginning, that yes, tomorrow the morning session will start at 10:30 a.m. sharp. Otherwise, we used to start at 11 o'clock. 10:30 a.m. sharp we will be starting, because we have two types of pitch day presentation tomorrow. In the morning, it is going to be focused on debt funding by BOST, and we have about some 13, 14 entrepreneurs pitching for that. And as a special guest, we have got the Joint Director of Department of Industries and Commerce, Dr. E. Bhaskar. I would rather request and appreciate if
Sati
Dr.
sir,
Mohit can, yeah, if you can join and spare
Thanks.
some time in the morning, because I don't know where he's. I don't know how to call him. Whether he's a bureaucrat, or he's an educationalist, or he's a mentor. He's a multifaceted personality. Though he is working in the capacity of a joint director, I think he has got more than 23, 24 doctorates. I'll share you his uh, profile if possible. I'll definitely share it. So he's a very interesting personality. So he is going to throw more light upon the various funding aspects available with government schemes and other things. So I'll definitely share you the Google link. Tomorrow we'll be on Google link because we have more visitors expected simultaneously. So if you can spare time on a Sunday, yes, you are welcome. And with this note, I am just signing up for the day. And thank you, everybody.
Sure.
And thanks for the valuable
Thank
time.
you, Dr.
Thank you,
Parthasarathi,
Partha.
and
Thank you, everybody.
safety. And thank you, my co-panelists. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Take care.